Hi guys, and welcome to this Independence Day special for the Fight Business podcast. And I couldn't have thought of anyone better to have on this week's episode than prolific Jiu-Jitsu fighter Angel Lopez. We're going to discuss the life of a martial artist pursuing liberty, happiness and freedom in the United States of America. Stay tuned.
I fought for our country. I got infantry on my stomach. We're following the Constitution, and I encourage all small business owners to open up today because the government is being tyrant, and we will not accept that in America. We believe in our freedom, we believe in the pursuit of happiness, and we're all in this together. So all small business owners, let's open up.
What's up, Angel Ruben?
What's going on, Alex? Man, life is good out here, man. Just living that freedom, that dangerous freedom. What's going on?
Yeah, and dangerous it certainly is becoming, right?
Man.
But this is the 4th of July podcast, and we're going to actually, we're recording it today, but it's going out on the 4th of July. And we had a little bit of a conversation going at Revgear, right? And they actually said to me, you know, there's a lot of people wanting to downplay it and stuff like that now in the States. And there's been a lot of conversation. Companies are wanting to kind of sit on the fence. I mean, have you seen a lot of that shit out there?
Well,
look, sometimes they play with the environment. You know, obviously it's their demographic. So if America's based on capitalism, they're going to go what's going to sell. You know, if it's going to be fear, they're going to do that. If it's going to be, you know, sugar, it's going to be that. So yeah, whatever the whoever's buying, they're selling.
Yeah, I find that incredible though, because at the end of the day, and it's kind of funny coming from an English guy, isn't it? Right? Because historically, they tried, you know, I've heard it said, and my American friends will joke with me, you know, we got independent from you guys. But the way I see it is, well, actually, you got independent from a tyrannical king called King George V, who was a shitbag, and every working class human in history are just trying to get rid of the people at the top who are trying to keep the working class man down. So for me, it was a victory for the English working class as much as it was for the Americans.
Exactly, because you guys have that. You're living free out there as well. You know what I mean? And that's what America's about. Yeah, exactly. We got to stay free, you know. And America represents freedom. It represents everybody. It doesn't represent one color. It represents all colors. It represents humanity. It represents the pursuit of happiness. It represents those things right there.
And that's right there in the Constitution, right? It's that life, personal liberty, happiness, and the pursuit of your life in the way that you see fit. And that's an ideal which I think should be celebrated by every human in the world.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The only situation we have, I think a lot of times in America, is people have things that make them feel uncomfortable and things that make them feel comfortable. And sometimes they try to control the environment around them to make themselves feel comfortable.
And that's just become kind of almost insipid or insidious in our whole Western culture right now, isn't it? Because I talked a lot about this on my other podcast, the one that goes on Facebook, which is more political. Like the whole thing is political. And I talk a lot about the idea that we as the Western culture have become risk adverse in a ridiculous way.
Yes.
But as martial artists, we get punched in the face and dropped on the floor and kicked all over the place every single day of the week. So, you know, do you think that that's influencing our group as martial arts people? The way that we feel about these things that are happening in a broader society, but we're rejecting them because, well, it doesn't make sense to us.
I think martial arts represents freedom. It totally represents being free. You know, you choose the martial arts you want to be in. It's all about being equal. Nobody's better than nobody. We treat each other fairly, whether you're from America, Europe, you know, Africa, Japan, China, Japan. It doesn't matter. We all speak one language, and it's martial arts, and we all get along, and we got friends all over the world, and we speak the same language, and it's the same, just martial arts, and that's how we all get along, and that's how we're connected, me and you, and all of our other friends around the world. It makes plenty of sense.
For sure. And that way, that communication that you do see, like, I mean, I've trained all over the world, you have to, and that communication, it's like a common language, but it's also like a common respect.
Totally. And it's a great respect.
I mean, I don't know, I did a bit of research before doing today's podcast, because I thought, well, if I'm going to upset some people, I'm going to upset them for the right reason. So,
yeah. And let it rip.
I watched one of the Euro football matches. You call it soccer, but it's known as football over here, right?
I like.
And the Euro 2020s in 2021, because the whole COVID thing, and it was the first time I'd seen broadcast television in forever, right?
Right.
And I was asking some questions, and the guy, the two captains, it was England versus Germany. Oh, and we beat them, by the way, again. Again. I just thought I'd mention that, right? But the two captains are wearing the pride armbands, right? For the homosexual movement thing. And, in martial arts, I mean, have you ever asked anybody if they're gay? I don't think I have.
No, I just let people be who they want to be. It's like,
and that's the normality, right? That's normal.
You got to treat people fairly. You want to be homosexual, be homosexual. You want to be heterosexual, be heterosexual. You are who you are. You handle your business, I handle mine, and nobody should be judged for what they want to.
And your gym's not a sex club, so it's irrelevant.
Exactly, a gym ain't a sex club. It's about
100%.
It's about helping each other protect themselves.
And here's the thing that I thought was kind of interesting, right?
Right.
Because I was thinking about that. I was thinking about that exact thing. I was thinking, look, hold on. These two football teams, are playing each other at a national level. And the two captains, and look, if they want to do this, it's okay. But I think in a broader sense, I thought it was like kind of a little bit of overdone, if you like. Because if I'm in a jiu-jitsu club like you run, and you got a lot of students, right?
Yes, I got up to pushing 300 now.
Wow,
man, going bigger. It's
we all wear a blue or a white gi, or they get some kind of out there colors, but nobody turns up in a rainbow gi, right?
No, but if somebody did, it's whatever. Do what you want.
Sure.
You got to have fun gis. You know what I mean? It's like people. I got some stupid ones myself. I got some green ones. I got some
for sure. I'm not saying that nobody should. It's more of a case of everybody wears a white belt, a blue belt, a purple belt, a brown belt, a black belt.
Absolutely.
But regardless of their race or their color or their creed or their sexual orientation, it's irrelevant.
Right. So it doesn't matter.
It's irrelevant.
Yeah, I think they bring it up because, you can imagine if they have, 1,000 soccer players or football players, you want to call it, somebody in their family probably is gay by some chance, and they probably felt repressed or bullied or some kind of situation. So I think, as me and Angel were talking beforehand, is sometimes the people who go fight are the people who fight for those who can't. So they're just saying, hey, I know you're getting bullied. My brother got bullied, or my dads are gay, or whatever it is, or whatever it might be. So they're saying, hey, we're standing with you. Matter of fact, I'll use an example. There's a homeless guy down the street. No one knows about this, but I go stop and say hi to him all the time. And the reason why I say hi to him is just to let him know that you're not forgotten. You're part of my community. I'll give him some money, or I give him gift cards of food, and I just talk to him because everybody else walks past him like he doesn't exist. So I think what they're doing is just saying is, hey, don't worry, we're going to protect you from getting bullied. You are the weak, or whatever it is.
Right.
We're standing with you.
Right.
And like I said, we're all inclusive, and here it's all about pursuit of happiness, and if somebody or something is preventing that, we stand with you to stop that. I think that's what they're saying.
That's right.
I think that's probably what they were trying to say, right?
Yeah,
and
they do it poorly though.
and I'm not criticizing them for making that decision per se, but it was more of a case of it was making me think about the martial arts culture, which you would never see this. You would never see this because there is no need to, and that's the point. There is no requirement to.
No,
I think we spoke about this before, but I don't remember ever in 30 years of doing martial arts, boxing in some rough ass places, you know, and I don't remember ever encountering any form of racism, ever witnessing it, ever seeing it. And again, it's like, it's irrelevant. Race is irrelevant in martial arts.
It won't happen.
What if there was a guy who was going to a tournament and he was going to, you know, he's one of your guys in your gym and he is homosexual, and the guys you go to the fight or, you know, they say, we're not going to go wrestle him. He's gay. There's no chance I'm laying with that guy.
Well, they're just weakening themselves because it's just a martial art.
You guys would stick up for your guy, though.
Right,
saying,
because it's nothing personal.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, exactly.
It's business. It's nothing personal.
And that's what I think what they're trying to say, because probably there's a lot of people who say, hey, I'm not even going to the locker room with that guy because of blah, blah, blah. And the guy's like, look, I'm a defensive end for the Raiders. I will fuck you guys up. I'm 6'8", 320 pounds, you know, and a homosexual. You're going to talk shit to me. I'll hold you down and fuck you in your mouth, you know?
Yeah. yeah. You know? That'd be crazy. Yeah,
I'm just saying. I'm not me personally, but
let's keep the peace.
So they're saying, hey, let's keep the peace.
I'm not so sure that would do like the cause much good if that actually happened. But
no, that'd be bad. That'd be very bad. Very bad.
That'd be very bad. Those are some scenarios that can happen. There's some crazy shit that happens in this world.
Yeah,
I think it's like an insidious kind of movement where there's a feeling where things need to be highlighted, which in a way it would be better if they weren't. It's like, and this is my whole thing of, I ain't never seen any indication in 30 years in a lot of different environments, in a lot of different countries. And in all of that time, you would think you would see at least once, you would see some instance of racism or homophobia or some reflection of these things that are supposedly needing protected against in the greater culture. But what makes martial arts, what therefore is making martial arts different? Yeah, that's my question. It's you run a gym, you've got 300 guys, that there's almost no doubt that you must have people of many different races, creeds, colors in that gym. You must almost certainly have a small percentage of people who are homosexual, whether they're being gay, lesbian, whatever, right? But nobody will ask, right? Nobody cares.
There's no reason. That's personal. That's not on. That's not on the sign-in sheet. That's not on your contract when you sign up. The only thing on the contract is you want to be a martial artist. But you want to learn.
And that's what America has always stood for, hasn't it? It's always stood for the idea that equality. That people can rise up from wherever they started and become whatever they want to be. That's like what I know America as an Englishman who's like, you know, and America catches a lot of flack because of its foreign policy and politics and stuff like that. But that's nothing to do with the man on the street culture. It's got nothing to do with it. And if anything, you know, the British should probably catch as much flack, but because they're sat behind the sidelines a little, you know, often backing up their, you know, the alliance that they have, they don't catch as much of it. But it has zero to do with your average American. No? Yeah.
On the soccer game, though, also what happened was whenever time Mexico plays America, they yell the word fag. So they actually banned Mexico from participating in any more. Like they can go to the audience because they couldn't. They do it every time. If America goes to Mexico, that's all they yell over and over again every time American touches the ball. Yeah, it was the word "hoto," Is that it?
I guess.
I don't know Spanish. They yell it over and over again. So actually, during the World League, they told they didn't let any fans in anymore. So that's kind of why they kind of did that.
That's
But I think in America right now, what's happening is like during the 70s, we were wild and love and free, right? Yeah. And then all of a sudden, it kind of got tightened up and conservative again in the 80s, and then it got grungy in the 90s. There's a pendulum that kind of goes back and forth. So like when conservatives will say, we're not going to let gays in, well, then the gays get really loud. And when the gays get really loud, the conservatives get loud. So it kind of goes like back and forth. We can never find this medium until, I don't know when, but like I always say like the 70s were more free for the gay lifestyle. Elton John and Freddie Mercury were amazing then. But now they would never make it. They would never make it today, even though I love those people. It's just society has changed. A pendulum that keeps swinging back.
Queen's one of the baddest groups ever. They're bad as fuck.
Amazing.
We are the champions.
Wow. I mean, did you watch the Freddie Mercury document?
Baddest movie ever.
Did you watch the film Bohemian Rhapsody?
The baddest movie ever. I mean, the energy he had when he was singing, it was insane.
It was amazing.
He's amazing. We are the champions. Oh my God, that song is amazing.
That was one of the best films I've seen in the last year or so. It was. I thought the Elton John one was pretty good too, actually. But the Bohemian Rhapsody was like, it's right up there with every. I really liked what was it called? The Dirt, the Motley Crue one.
Oh yeah, that was good.
That was great. But Motley Crue were like my heroes as a kid, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I wasn't the world's biggest Queen fan, but I thought that was an amazing, amazing movie.
I like the song "We Are the Champions" because when I got my expert infantryman's badge in the Army, that was playing at the award ceremony. We are the champions. So one of my sergeants put my EIB right on my chest, blood ranks, got my expert infantryman's badge, and I'm proud of that. We are the champions. We're playing. I'll never forget it. We are the champions, baby.
Thank you, buddy.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
So I heard all this stuff. It kind of incensed me a bit. Like I said to the guys, I was like, what? Like, hold on, you got this whole movement of things going on where like there's some kind of thing saying we don't want to celebrate Independence Day because it's going to upset a few people. Like, I mean, who's it going to upset? And
I don't care who it upsets. I'm going to celebrate freedom. I mean, I'm going to hang out, I'm going to still live free. My mind is free. If they get upset, they can get upset on their own. It's an opinion.
You saw this, and there was obviously last year, there was the riots and the BLM movement really came to the fore, and there was a lot of stuff. And I heard that it was a little bit about this, and there seems to be like a conscious movement to try and rewrite history, or there's a big thing about slavery again at the moment. Is that right?
I think the big thing they're talking about is California is rampant, like super rampant with fires. And a lot of them are started with fireworks. In Fresno, like my wife worked for dispatch. So like during this time, there's not enough fire department or police department to even patrol the amount of fires by fireworks. So like there's areas like around Ojai where whole neighborhoods have lost their lives due to a lot of PG&E or fireworks, whatever it might be. So they're like, to them, it feels, they're trying to say to those people like, hey, they feel bad because, hey, we're going to celebrate anyways, even though you lost your fucking house. I think it goes more with that than, because there's no really racing tied to it or, anything like that, because, black people fought for the freedom of America just as much as white people.
Absolutely. Well, we see this like in the UK, and we don't like, I often think that, well, is this really what's going on in the States, or is this just been blown up in the media?
It's a media spin. So something happens, then a different side tries to tear it a different direction.
Right.
And it's not even close to true. I'll use an example, not even get to political, but like the border. They're saying like we have open borders. Well, there's not open borders. Even Fox News will show people getting arrested constantly. You know what I mean? But there's no open borders. There, even they say, don't come over here. You know what I mean? Like, so like, but the media will say, oh, they're just letting everybody in. There's not anybody in. We have a huge labor. I went to Vegas. Half of Vegas is shutting down because they don't have employees. Coca-Cola building is shut down because they don't have employees.
Wow.
So if we had people running in, everything would be fucking packed. I went to Caesar's Palace. They're like, hey, man, we don't have enough people to clean the buildings.
Get back to work.
Yeah. So we've had a labor shortage for 10 years. Like I'm in construction, and we've had a labor shortage for over 10 years, and we're still got a labor shortage. And plus, America, like we were talking about before, how we have this Jiu-Jitsu special. People are taking risk for reward, and they're going to take punishment, and they're going to go through a journey. And there's a group of people who don't want to go through any of those journeys. They just want reward. They don't want to work the basic jobs to get there. They just want to be a CEO.
I'm a hard worker, and I want to keep working, and I want to keep grinding, and I ain't done grinding yet, and I'm not done competing yet. I'm not done working yet. I just want to work hard the rest of my life, and when I fall over, and that's it. Every day's a fight with Angel Lopez. Yeah. Every day's a fight with me, and we know that.
Every day is a fight with Angel Lopez.
That's
every
right,
day's
man.
A fight day, man. How's the video coming on?
I was just gonna say, I just got done
filming. I can't wait to see this.
Just got done filming the last scene today. I wanted to do one more scene on 4th of July, maybe, like, because we're having open mat at Halo.
You got to do it. You got to do that.
So, and we're gonna have to do that. So just because we're on about the freedom trip, all of us right now, and all of us here on this podcast love to be free. We're gonna have to add that to it.
You freedom do have to add that to it for sure.
I have to.
I mean, I'm gonna round back to this. So, you know what you were saying there about the lack of workers, like people are not wanting to do those tough jobs anymore, and people just want to go straight to the top. Do you think that's like a culture thing that's seeped in over a long time?
Oh yeah, for sure. We have definitely a soft coach. I've coached football for a long period of time. You have a hard time getting kids in there to do that, and then they're soft when they show up. I've had kids quit football because the mouthpiece choked them out. They didn't make it day one. The mouthpiece took them out,
Right. Wow. And, and people sign up for Jiu-Jitsu and they think, oh, yeah, I like it. They try one practice. They never come back because they get choked out or something. They get intimidated and they don't want to continue to face their fears, which that's the first part about Jiu-Jitsu is you got to face your fears. You got to face the fear of getting submitted because actually everybody's equal and you get very humbled. And we all know this in martial arts. We've all been humbled.
And that's a tie in martial arts. And I'm seeing that. I've started coaching again recently. And we recently, after the whole COVID thing kind of died down a little, and we managed to reopen the club, and it was a new club, so we got a lot of like teenagers coming in, and I think martial arts for a lot of kids is the first time they ever had to work for something. Like ever genuinely had to grind and like we're pitted against one another in a competitive format. And I don't necessarily mean competition. I mean, literally they just in a group where at the end of the day, fighting of any kind, even in a play sense, is still competitive. Like you spar, it's still a little competitive. the guy who's on top or the guy who's like, gets a chokehold or gets a submission, whatever. They're not the winner because they weren't fighting as in to win, but they're still, they're showing some dominance. And I think we're seeing this kind of culture of, what do they call it? Kind of snowflake thing. Snowflake culture.
like a Care Bear culture.
Care Bear, that's a new one.
Yeah, they're like Care Bears. They're like they want a safe place, and it's like there ain't nothing safe in life. You got to learn how to, life is like it's tough, and it's better they face their fears and stop living like Care Bears and the little baby wolf,
isn't it?
Whatever they call it.
I did this like almost huge rant on a podcast about this, and I just said, what the fuck is going on? Like when did the human race actually become completely risk adverse? Like
what they say, hard times make tough men make
easy times.
Easy times make tough men.
Good times make weak men.
Yeah.
Who is that quote?
I can't remember who says it. Joe Rogan says it all the time, but he quotes someone else.
Hell yeah,
that's a quote I've heard a lot myself recently. I did look up who said it, and I'm sure it was actually a science fiction writer.
That's why, there's not a lot of struggles today in life, and I think there needs to be some kind of like a gentleman's academy to kind of like make kids like almost like a military academy of some sort, but not military. We we don't need to push more government involvement, but something just a mountain men or just
need to avoid that.
I know exactly.
Martial arts.
But something in general, just there's so many just fishing to building. There's so many things that men are lacking nowadays. But that's why I signed my kids up to football like in kindergarten, because they got punched around, pushed around. Had to go through sun, heat, and then you're going to be successful or you're going to quit. What are you going to do? And they just had to keep on pushing through it. But most kids just play, and no offense to anybody out there, but soccer. And if the ball doesn't come to you, you're just waiting for the ball, right?
Mate, I'm probably going to piss off the whole of the UK now. But when I got invited to go and watch that game last week, I said I really don't want to watch 11 of our panzers play 11 of Germany's panzers with one big pansy in the middle. So I was like,
that's your opinion.
I mean, it's an entertaining game and it can be tough in parts, but like in Britain, they often go like, the real guys play rugby,
Right. What about Sporting, that team Sporting? And aren't they out of Portugal?
Which
one? Sporting. And then we have Benfica.
Oh, Sporting Lisbon. Right.
Yes.
Okay, the Portuguese clubs, Yeah,
they had some serious beef out there, I heard. It was kind of crazy.
It might be a new tactic that they did. They just run the other side over. It could work.
Yeah, so I'm actually, I've been to Lisbon, competing in the Europeans, So I definitely bought both their jerseys, Cool. Because I know they were both tough against each other and they didn't like each other and there was a big old rivalry. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not from here, but I'm going to support both teams and they're both fighters. So I'm buying both their jerseys. That's what I did when I was there.
When Paul, who owns Revgear, came over with his kids and like I got them Newcastle jerseys and stuff, but but they wanted to see a game and that unfortunately they came when the season was done. So there was no games at the time. But it's a funny thing, though. I mean, I agree with what Ruben just said. Have you read books like The Way of Men by Jack Donovan or Mischler's book? What was it? Sovereignty by Ryan Mischler.
No.
I mean, check them out. I think The Way of Men's a better book. Mischler makes a lot of good statements, but there's a whole movement going on, and I think it started in the States, but it's been going on all over the place, which is almost a direct contradiction to this kind of snowflake woke culture. It's like the exact opposite. It's basically saying men need to be men, women need to be women, and everybody needs to just grow the fuck up.
Yeah, be fucking about what you're about. Don't be a little Care Bear, a little sissy out there.
I believe, I could be wrong about this, but I was told that Jack Donovan's actually a gay guy, but he's still a very manly man. If
that's on him. Yeah. However he wants to do it.
But it comes back to, people are so super individual. If we forced everybody to be masculine, we wouldn't have Elton John.
That's right.
Elton John, so we just got to accept these people who, and then and in other terms, people like Angel and yourself, we got to appreciate them for who they are. Everybody's individual, so his masculinity is.
I think this is a lot of the point that these guys are kind of making, though. It's like, and that what you just said there is like being masculine in the sense of like the classic, if you like, the classic version of masculine. Like you must have these guys in the gym, right? Who are like technical wizards with jiu-jitsu.
Right.
But like if you talk to them, they're like very softly spoken and a little bit maybe feminine in their like the way that they'll be in their persona. Yeah. But nobody's judging them. Nobody's giving them a hard time about it. It's just like a case of that's who they are. But and what I'm saying there, Ruben, is like there is this movement that's going on which is saying allow people to be what they are. Well, not just want to be what they are, just born to be. Yeah.
Yes.
And I think there's been a lot of like stuff going on, which is almost like reality denial. Yeah.
Yeah. And reality, everybody's around.
Like, for example, this thing about rewriting historical events to suit a political or a woke, an agenda. And it's like, so I heard this thing I looked it up on a few podcasts. I read a bit about it, where this thing and it may be tied to Black Lives Matter, it may not. And we've all got to remember, Black Lives Matter, forget the statement. The statement nobody could disagree with. Like, all lives matter would be a better statement, right? But no one would disagree with the idea that Black Lives Matter. Of course they do. Yes, they do. Yes, we agree.
Of course they do. Absolutely.
But it was a very clever way of framing what is a political organization. Or whether you agree with it or disagree with it, it's irrelevant. It was a frame of an organization, right? But this whole thing of going, hey, we're going to start attacking the founding fathers on the basis that they hadn't abolished slavery. In fact, some of them were actually actively participating in it. And I don't see how you can judge, Julius Caesar from being 2,000 years ago in a culture that was acceptance of something that is not acceptable today. Because we don't have to go back very far to find things that are not acceptable today that were completely acceptable 30 or 40 years ago. And a great example of that would be smoking indoors.
Yeah.
Smoking cigarettes or whatever indoors. Like, I mean, I remember not so long ago, like when I was a kid, you'd go to someone's house and there they are smoking away, and they weren't smoking. Nowadays, guys who actually smoke don't smoke in their own house.
I smoke in my house. I only smoke weed though.
That's okay.
Yeah, it's natural. It helps a guy like me kind of calm down and stay level headed after a long day's work.
And it's become socially, that in itself has become very socially acceptable, hasn't it? In the last 5 to 10 years, I would say.
Totally.
Yeah, I think a lot of the history part is they're trying to not rewrite, but really correct it. So like Christopher Columbus, they say like he was this great guy and blah, blah, blah. But then when you actually read the book, you're like, oh, no, he was not a great guy. He even killed all his own people. And then like George Washington, we grew up thinking that George Washington had wood teeth. Right? He had wood teeth, but if you think about it, it's fucking dumb. But really,
what the fuck?
He had slave teeth. There's actually paperwork where he took slaves' teeth out and then wore slave teeth. And if we knew that, we wouldn't think of him like, oh my God, that was a great guy. We'd think, oh my God, that guy was a fucking savage. Or the fact that he lost every war, and that's why they chose him. They thought he would lose these wars and drain the British's funds. That's why they hired him in the first place. But like Caesar, we knew exactly who he was, right? Yeah. So we knew he was a piece of shit for all this time. So he's never been dramatized as this great leader. He was a ruthless leader, and eventually when they found out, they fucking killed his ass.
Right.
But George Washington, instead, if you look up all the history, that even the leaders at the time, the founding fathers, said he didn't win any of the wars. Like you look at the history, but he would drain them. And then the fact he won that last war when the fog came in, they said it was like this, fate. Like something happened. How did he win?
Like, again, what I'm saying is, like, you can't judge historical characters by a standard that happens today.
100%. Yeah,
because it's like if you transported me an angel back in time, we'd probably fit right in. But but in all seriousness, like you couldn't operate in the same way because the standards are different.
100%
would be different.
Like, does anybody, would anybody from a Western world today, hand on heart, say, oh yeah, that slavery thing that happened 200 years ago was fine? Of course not. No, absolutely, it was not fine.
It was not cool. Yeah,
it was not cool, and
it's not a good thing.
It goes all the way back to where we started, right? Which is when you kicked the British the fuck out of America. You didn't kick the working class British out of America. You kicked a bunch of toffs who are exploiting a bunch of people to fund King George's pot.
Yeah, so the negative people were
the British had no choice.
Yeah,
the British would have I would say half the population, the British, had they known the situation, would have happily joined forces with the Americans. And that's because they were as oppressed as anyone. Look what happened to the Irish. Yeah,
I think the crazy thing is
tyrant governors fucked it all up. Always, they always do.
What they consider
one of the great things about America, and one of the greatest things about the American Constitution, and those guys who wrote it were fucking geniuses. They were fucking geniuses. They were like, they had a crystal ball, and they said, "No more of this shit. We're gonna create a place where its people can go and be what they want to be and do what they want to do. And if you work hard and walk forward and do the right things, and like America was the first truly multicultural society because it allowed people to come there from anywhere and make a life for themselves. And I think that's something that really must be celebrated. And it shouldn't, the 4th of July should not be seen as some kind of, hey, we kick the Brits out. Of course not.
It's not about that.
It's not about that, is it? Not at all.
Not at all. It's about being It's about being free.
It's about celebrating America.
Because I love my friends all over the world. I can't wait to go to Europe, man. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, I can't wait to start traveling again.
It's American Pride Day, right? It's about a nationalism day almost, you know?
It's amongst people that want to be free against tyrant people.
And there absolutely shouldn't be a fear or a concern. And taking part in those types of discussions, when I hear that, and I'm like, whoa, you know, I don't see why anybody should ever, if somebody doesn't think that that's cool, well, that's up to them. But I think being patriotic and thinking about the good things and the positive things in a country.
Positive. Yeah, no, there's just a few companies, like real big companies who do like, $200,000 firework display that say, hey, there's been fireworks or burnings, we're just gonna have to do the fireworks. So then the other side would be like, oh my God, they're so woke, and they blame it on something else. And then really it's just, they're just trying to say, hey man, we don't want no fires. And then like the funny thing is like the woke culture who like they want to supposedly like soften everything up.
Yeah.
They actually went with the history is, like I said with George Washington, we can say all the good stuff, but can't we say all the truth, also the bad stuff? Like, you got to be honest about it. And I think that's where the history changing is. Because right now everything is so sugar coated. Like everything is great. We are all heroes and everybody's saved and everybody's inclusive.
Well, nothing's perfect, but I hate negativity.
But truth though, but we're not talking about entertainment. We're talking about history. So when it comes to history, we have to have all the facts.
You gotta keep it real.
If you don't know history, what happens?
Yeah.
It repeats itself.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. They say it doesn't repeat, but it rhymes, don't they?
Yeah. So that's why we have to know what happened exactly, how easy it is for a group to be as hero as a George Washington, but also be a slave owner. And we understand that mentality is possible, then we can go forward in life and not repeat that, I think.
Ruben, that's the first time I've actually heard somebody say that point of view, which is really interesting point of view. It's a great point. It's the first time I've heard somebody say that, but I think that's a very astute observation. Yeah?
Unique, personal.
Well, no, I don't disagree with that. Hearing that's interesting. When we had this whole thing where they were pulling down statues, and you've got this, what do they call it, cancel culture. Oh, let's get rid of this guy. We don't like what he said. And let's get rid of this person because we don't like
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is ridiculous.
Stupid.
And that is attacking freedom of speech in a way. It's like
those cults, like that's another thing is like, heard of the Jim Crow laws, right?
No.
So the Jim Crow laws were segregation laws they had during the 50s. And they had civil rights in 1967.
Yeah.
And then so after the Jim Crow laws in the 50s to 67, they put the statues up then. They didn't happen like 100 years ago, and we love these people. That when the Jim Crow laws got defeated, they're like, oh, you think you have your fucking civil rights? Well, guess what? We're going to put these old leaders up now. And that's why they fell down so easily, because they're like made out of pop. They're like not real statues. They're like really cheaply made, so they fell apart. That's why one broke off and killed that guy, because they're really cheap. And they were built during the 50s and 60s when they're trying to say, fuck you, these are original leaders. And that's why they're taking them down now. Not because what they represent, but what they represent at that time when they put them up in the 50s and 60s. That's the thing. So when people hear that, you're like, oh, it makes sense. Just like Kaepernick. Kaepernick took a knee because a military guy said, hey, when we pay respect for our soldiers, we take a knee. Because before that, Kaepernick was, in the locker room. So Kaepernick said, okay, well, if that's what I want to do, I'll take a knee because this guy in the military asked me to. And if everybody hears the story, they're like, oh, that makes sense.
Right. Yeah, I guess it does. And it just shows you what some of these symbols can do, and then they get twisted and twisted out of all shape and proportion, and nobody really understands what's going on, right?
Yeah.
And what about the people that want to change, like calling a woman that has a baby, they want to call it, what is it, a birthing person? I don't know. It's kind of strange. You know what I'm talking about?
Well, the thing with language, you've got to be careful with that.
Like, yeah.
Well, the dictionary is written by Webster. One white guy wrote the dictionary, so he wrote Webster, right? He wrote all the words. So so he's he's defining words.
This is ridiculous.
Well, he's defining words which are obsolete, right? Words and because to another country, the words mean different.
Right.
And so it does
totally. That makes sense.
So words are the most, talk about freedom. Words are the most controlling.
Yeah, so you can say what the fuck you want. I don't care. You call it what you want.
Call it what you want.
What you think, whatever.
I think what you got to be careful with that, though, Ruben. Like when he's like, once you've got an accepted definition, and when you start messing with the definition, and there's a few that you could go which are more recent, right? Where the words have actually come into play more recently, right? Mm-hmm. So, for example, if you said that somebody was gay in 1935, right? You mean he's happy?
Yeah, gay. The word gay means happy.
Yeah, it did do. Yeah, not anymore. It's changed. Yeah, the word
the street term is
evolved, if you like.
Yeah, because words mean nothing.
Yeah,
and if I said, so I remember the first time that my colleagues at Revgear said, "Oh, if you reach out to," well, to me, reaching out to somebody at the time was doing that, right?
Right.
I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Yeah. But this, like, and if you look, but the history of the English language is really interesting because a lot of English people on our 4th of July special, a lot of English people would argue, wrongly by the way, that Americans have bastardized the language. But actually, if you look at the history of the language, it's always been that way. It's gone back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And the language develops and twists and changes with times, with the way that people use it, and then there's adoption, and then there's mass adoption. But the language that we use for martial arts, for example, like, so some people call it a mataleo, some people call it rear naked choke, some people go RNC, just use the abbreviation.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's whatever.
Do you use any of the Japanese terms still?
A sotogari, for the throws, we use them all. And, some people call it a hip throw. I mean, there's all kinds, people call moves different things, and that's just the way it is. We're not going to all memorize like the move because we're all from different countries, and the move is the move. So
but the move is universal, isn't it? The actual action is universal. Yeah?
The move is freedom.
And I'm sure you've been in this situation, right? So you're with a Brazilian teacher or a Thai teacher. I train with Ramba Somdet, right? Yeah. And that guy's a ninja.
He's awesome.
That guy's a fucking ninja.
His energy is insane. I've seen him fight before.
He's like fucking 4 foot tall or some shit, right? And he's the only 4 foot tall guy I ever met who I definitely wouldn't want to fight with. Yeah, that guy is like, he's a killer.
He's something special. He's a killer. He's a nice guy, but don't get it twisted. That guy will catch you. And he's a good character. He's funny. He likes to laugh. He has a good time. I like him. But he's such a good guy. We're friends on Facebook.
He speaks all of about 3 words of English, right?
But he's so cool. Cool.
But we had like 8, 10 guys all training with him. And he didn't need to speak a fucking word of English. He didn't need English because he has the universal language, which was martial arts, which he can just demonstrate what he's doing. And everybody got it straight away.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, he's a good guy, And
again, straight away, transcended the language. It transcended any barriers. Nobody's interested in anybody's background or whether they're going to be upset about this or how anyone's going to feel about that. They just get on and do that thing. And this is why I honestly think that martial arts as a activity, as a cultural base, as a philosophy, has got such a positive thing to give to people. And we could maybe teach our political masters a little bit about social cohesion, about unity, and stop dividing people and start bringing people together through a common cause and a common activity.
That's what freedom stands for, unity, basically. Like, you know, that's a big part of it. You know, we need to be unified.
Union.
Like,
That's what our country is based on. You know,
exactly. That's what
we
America's
form
based
a
on,
better
unity.
union. These states, you know, we are the United States of America.
And we would like to remain so, wouldn't we? And this is where you see that these things which are brought to the fore and maybe overblown, and I think Ruben said some stuff here, which is the first time, like, it's the first time I've actually heard those explanations, and yet what you hear in the media and what's brought all over the place is like, you got this, you know, these people being cancelled for things that they say, or they say not the right term, or it's not the politically correct term, and it's like, fuck that shit.
Yeah.
I think like sometimes too.
Sorry.
Sometimes too, like I guess that girl who got fired from like the Star Wars thing. Apparently, they didn't like her beforehand. So as soon as they had an opportunity, which the public might, oh, here's a good reason, and the public will buy into it, they fired that chick. And I guess there was issues before. Yeah. So they just use that as an opportunistic. So like sometimes these woke cultures are, this person was already a jerk or an asshole. I'm not saying she was, I don't know her, you know, but that's what they were reporting. And then they make a move with these, you know, media controlled opportunities, you know.
That happens all the time. Like we just had it with what was it called, Matt Wangcock or something, our health secretary in the he was Matt Cock. Everyone just calls him Cock, right? But, right, but they don't call him anything anymore because he's finally got rid of him. But you know, he was caught cheating with this chick in 10 Downing Street, and he'd already. But I mean, the interesting thing was, to come to Ruben's point, was, I mean, 2 weeks before this. He's a guy who was at the head of government about 18 months ago, a year ago in the UK. He's in a committee, like a Congress, like you've got Congress where you do where they question them and that stuff, like a tribunal. And this guy actually says, oh, he should have been fired about 15 times for blatantly lying to the public and deceiving people and doing all this. No one gives a fuck about this, but they care when he's got his hand on this chick's butt and snogging in front of a CCTV camera. Like, I mean, why didn't they just fire him for being shit at his job? Exactly. I mean, why did they need that excuse? Why did they even need that excuse? No?
Hating on him.
Yeah, they're in a buddy club. They need some outside reason because they're all doing dirty stuff. They're all dirty, so they need you to somehow get exposed. And once your dirtiness gets exposed, they're like, "Oh my god, I can't believe he did that. We would never."
Yeah, let's put the light on him, the negative light on him.
Yeah. And this is where I feel like, you know, we've kind of lost. I think martial arts guys on the whole, and I know a ton of them. But we've just got this reality check. We just have this reality check of, oh, you think that works? Okay, let's try it. Okay,
right.
You think you can tap me out? Okay, let's do it. Yeah. You think you can knock me out? Okay, let's do it. And nobody's going to get too upset about it. It's just what's going to happen.
No. Huh? It's the way it is. It's making sure that you're, you know, actions.
But it's kind of brutal and real, isn't it?
Yeah, I love it. Martial arts are amazing. God.
But
best thing to happen all of our lives.
But I mean, how many times have we seen this? Like when, you know, they'll blow up a fight and these guys are all at each other's throats and how much they hate each other for the audience.
Right.
Build up a fight.
Let's build it up. Let's talk shit to each other, you know, because we got
trash talk, all that stuff. Please don't break again. We're back. And we're back.
All right.
Let's not start that one again. Does your internet go down after about 40 minutes?
It shouldn't. Last time I think the guy was playing video games.
So the
one thing about you talk about jiu-jitsu, it's competitiveness.
Yeah. But
it's
the
very
whole
competitive.
culture,
too competitive always blocks that bullshit.
That whole culture of martial arts, I think there's a lot that maybe could be learned in a wider sense in the culture of, you know, we don't have to turn everybody into fighters or competitors or whatever, but just that simple reality check of going, okay, look, we can accept each other for what we are and we can get our aggression or our anger out in a way that's positive and constructive, and accept the way that we do things. And sometimes there's got to be an amount of risk, and we're not going to be risk adverse, and we're going to learn to grow and build. And I think those were the qualities that America was founded on. Like, you didn't go and drop everything you owned and go into the West and build those communities on the back of anything other than some determination, some grit, and some hard work, right? Yeah. And everybody makes some mistakes along the way. And if you go that the whole slavery thing was a mistake and it was a horrible mistake, but you can't blame a culture for it for the rest of its existence. It makes no sense.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's what's happening out here.
Yeah. No, but I think with the jiu-jitsu thing, the thing that the shaker, like when you got the gold pieces, was that UFC 1 and 2, when everybody came in, I always talk we thought ninjas was the shit, right? Ninjas going to take out everybody. And then, the Gracies came in, this skinny guy, and took out every tough-looking, masculine, mustache-having guy that we thought were the best, toughest guys. And then it realized, really, it's people who had skills. And then all the tough guys realized, oh, wait, it's a different competitiveness. It has nothing to do with how tough we are. It's how smart and well trained and versed we are.
I was like,
but you had to be tough as well. And no one's saying Hoist Gracie wasn't tough, right? You remember when he broke his arm in a fight and kept fighting?
Oh yeah, for sure.
He's a badass, dude.
That guy is badass. I mean, I met Hoist a few times, and they are badass. But yeah, I hear what you're saying. It's it's not the big guy, it's not the tough looking guy, it's the guy who is tough, mentally tough. He had to go through years and years and years of training, being beaten up every day to go through that journey. And I think the interesting thing, because we're talking about culture and history and how we got here, and I think it's so good just to remember that life is a journey and people make mistakes and you have to forgive them and you just need to move on.
No one's perfect. We learn along the way.
And the words don't, and we got that, the words don't have this power if you take that power away. It's the actions that really count.
Yes, exactly. You can't let words, they're just words. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words never hurt me. Words that never hurt me.
And once we start getting adverse to the idea of, oh my God, you can't say that. Well, actually, I don't think there's a damn thing anyone can't say to me. Right.
Yeah, me
they
too.
They can say what they want. I mean, I might punch them on the nose.
Yeah, they might get a little. Say what they want. They might get a little uppercut real quick, but you know what I mean? They can say what the fuck they want, but you might catch a swift.
And there's that thing. That's the martial arts way, right? And so I was explaining to some of my students, and I said, look, this whole thing about the idea of martial arts breeds respect. Well, it does. It does breed respect. But it's not about the bowing and the scraping. It's not about the handshakes. It's not about the hugs. It's not about any of that stuff. It's not about the history. It's not about, and I'm likening it to what we're talking about. The true martial arts respect is the core understanding that you gain over years and years and years that there's always somebody who can fuck you up.
Always. And I respect that always. And I'm always going to test myself against anybody. I can't wait. No matter who they are, I've never ducked anybody that anyone's put me in front of. And I thank God for that. And that makes me feel confident inside because I face my fear daily. Yeah. And you got to face fears. Yes.
But that makes you a respectful and humble human being, which makes you good to other people, and Ruben's saying he talks to, I would, and you would, and everyone, we all treat everybody very equally. And it doesn't matter the lowliest guy on the street to king. In the same way, we'd probably say, "What's up?" to King George and give him a high five and how you doing, man? You really want to put that crown down and get yourself a hoodie, dude. Yeah. But the point is, we're not going to bow and scrape to a king, and we're not going to kick a beggar. You know, we treat everybody with respect, and we treat everyone with equality. But our respect came of a basic understanding of what it takes to be real good. And we get that inner respect. So it's, and the way I frame it is I say, the respect isn't from bowing and scraping. It's not from words. It's not from what belt you wear, going back to our armbands, you know, earlier. It's not from any of that. It's from a respect for the journey that we've had to take to get there. And when you understand that, you have an inner respect. It's different. It's a self-respect as well. You know? And I think if that mentality could get out into the wider world, then we wouldn't see cancel culture. We wouldn't see a rework. Albeit I agree with Ruben, like telling the truth about history in order to go forward is a very good thing. I'd never heard it said that way. You know? But
perfectly said, Ruben.
We can hold people accountable for actions they haven't lived through.
Exactly.
You know, or like I said, change the role of society's views to match what they had then.
For sure. True. So to finish up today, what does 4th of July mean to you, Angel? What are you going to be doing on 4th of July? You said you're actually running a class, right?
Actually, yes, we have an open mat at Halo Jiu-Jitsu on 4th of July from 9 to 11. So everybody's welcome if you're hearing this. If you need to fly in, go ahead. If you need to take a COVID test, whatever, get here. Just kidding, but you're all still welcome anyway, right? So 4th of July, what 4th of July means to me and freedom means to me is just being free and doing whatever you want to do. And, you gotta be free in your own mind. You can't be a slave to tyrant governors' thoughts and stuff like that. You got to be free. I believe in the pursuit of happiness, and I'm just going to have fun on 4th of July. To tell you the truth, after I roll that day, I'm probably just going to chill out and not do nothing and get ready for Monday and go for the kill again, because I got a lot of things on my plate and I'm very busy and I'm stoked, and I got a lot of goals to reach. I got goals set for myself and my students, and I'm ready to keep moving forward. And with this Modern Day Warrior podcast that I got going too, and I also want to give a shout out to Revgear, of course, to you, Alex, you're amazing, Paul Revlin, Mike Stone, and last but not least, Tom, man. Tom's the man. He's the good guy. And so everybody's cool from the whole outfit, and it's just an honor to be, part of the movement and represent Revgear.
Thanks, man. What you doing on 4th of July, Ruben?
Well, actually, I'm leaving here. I got a family party at my house. Everybody's showing up. Got a big pool party, and then 4th of July is just going to be me and the wife naked in the pool drinking beers.
Oh, fuck, that's real.
Fuck yeah.
Wow.
If I want to run around naked and drink beer, I might do that at home too. Yeah. But I'll probably just chill out. But yeah, that might be a thought though, because I am free as fuck. So
you guys all stay out of jail, right?
Yeah. Oh, fuck going to jail. I have nothing. I don't want to be around a bunch of motherfucking men in jail right now, man. I might throw some dogs or something. I got to stay out of jail.
Okay, guys. That's awesome. Well, we're going to catch up with you again real soon. I really enjoyed the chat. Let's do it again soon.
It's always good, Alex, man. Talk to you soon, brother.
Appreciate it.
Okay. See you later, bro.
All right. Peace.